Hello, it's The Guardian's Peter Bradshaw here, and welcome along to this YouTube channel, the platform that's focused on deliverable outcomes for the review consuming community. And can I now grasp this opportunity to remind you to subscribe and leave a comment. This year, the legendary critic Laura Mulvey is to receive an honorary fellowship at the British Film Institute. Now, we all know that no one builds statues of critics, but Laura Mulvey deserves one for having invented, 50 years ago, the instantly indispensable concept of the male gaze, showing us that the act of seeing at the movies is not a transparent, value-free business, but governed by gender and other determinant factors of power and ideology. She's a filmmaker as well, of course. And this was chiefly in her groundbreaking 1975 essay, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema, and its successor piece about the female gaze and how that is constructed. And these very interesting and pleasurable essays were structured around her views of the classic King Vidor movies Duel in the Sun from 1946 and the earlier Stella Dallas from 1937. Stella Dallas can be streamed on Amazon Prime, but Duel in the Sun is accessible for nothing right now on YouTube. And what an amazing treat it still is. A passionate, melodramatic, psychological western set in Texas with the blood-red skies and sense memories of the Civil War, which might conceivably put you in mind of Gone with the Wind. Martin Scorsese has already written and broadcast about this film as the first that he ever saw as a child. Mulvey was fascinated with this film because of the way it puts a woman and her gaze at the centre of the action. The two leading men are seen repeatedly through her eyes, almost as if she has created them or hallucinated them. They are projections of her psyche, depictions of her dual identity. And if Mulvey's Freudian approach seems quaint or unfashionable now, well, it seems to me highly pertinent to such a psychological movie. The white star Jennifer Jones is cast as she never would be today, as the mestizo or biracial woman Pearl Chavez. Her white father Scott is executed for killing the lover of his Native American wife, Pearl's mother, and her too. The passionately tearful farewell of Pearl and Scott in the condemned man's cell on the eve of the hanging is almost like that of two lovers, not father and daughter. His last wish is that Pearl be sent to live with his former sweetheart, Laura Bell McCandless, played by Lillian Gish, and the man who is now her husband, the bad-tempered, wheelchair-using rancher, Senator Jackson McCandless, played by Lionel Barrymore. Butterfly McQueen plays their African-American maid, Vashti. Like figures in a parable from scripture, the old couple have two adult sons, one good and one bad, one sensitive, decent and good-natured, one selfish, sensual and alluringly wicked. The first is the clean-living Jesse, a law student who wants to persuade his father to accept the railroad's encroachment on his land. He's played by Joseph Cotton. The second is the lethally sexy and almost preternaturally handsome Luton, or Lute, played by Gregory Peck. Pearl is attracted to them both. Jesse is courtly and gallant. Lute is crudely predatory. Pearl feels a heartfelt yearning for Jesse, but is self-hatingly and openly turned on at the thought of Lute having his way with her. There is a scene in which Pearl appears to be almost in the grip of a psychological breakdown, torn in two by opposing desires.
Night. What do you want? I hate you. I hate you.
Now, don't you pretend nobody ever did that before.
They didn't. Nobody did. Nobody's going to. You leave that alone.
Woo-hoo. I reckon he must be the white half. Oh, I forgot to say goodnight, ma'am.
But the most extraordinary aspect of this whole situation is something never commented upon by the McCandlesses, or indeed all that much by Laura Mulvey herself in her essay. Laura Bell was not merely Scott's former girlfriend, but his second cousin, which she didn't need to be for the narrative to work, which is to say Pearl, Jessie and Lute are in fact all related. There is a subtextual, or even just flat-out textual, incestuous transgression at work here. It makes more sense to think of these people as three avatars or emblems of different urges within one personality when they are in fact one family. Of course, there is an uncomfortable racial aspect to her dual personality in The Son. It is implied that it is Pearl's Native American side which is drawn to the lowlife Lute, whereas her white half is in love with the noble Jessie, although it should be noted that neither of these two men in fact clearly want to marry Pearl. Even before Pearl breaks Jessie's heart, it isn't 100% clear that he will in fact propose. Both men, in their varying ways, are, it seems, above that possibility, and she winds up being briefly engaged to the humble ranch foreman. Moreover, there is a staggering moment when Pearl rides out for her fateful showdown with Lute on the horse, called Dice, which he once gave her, and this horse bends down to drink from a creek, and Pearl drinks alongside the horse like an animal. Duel in The Son is bizarre and offensive, arguably, from a modern perspective, yes, but also crazily brilliant for the same reasons. Its adherence to race politics and its wish to escape them is its own ideological duel. Stella Dallas from 1937 is based on the bestseller by Olive Higgins Prouty, who also wrote the original novel Now Voyager. It's a very different movie, a more complex, realistic film, Dickensian in its heartstring-tugging intensity, and not necessarily subtler. Stella, played by Barbara Stanwyck, is a working-class woman who entrances the well-born Stephen Dallas, who is estranged from his wealthy family and works as a manager at her textile factory. They marry and have a lovely daughter called Laurel, but soon Stella's uncultured nature rises to the surface. To Stephen's fastidious dismay, she forms a friendship with a boozy gambler called Ed, although there isn't anything romantic or sexual in their relationship, at least not from Stella's point of view. When Stella and Stephen are finally separated, Stella's crass vulgarity embarrasses poor Laurel in front of well-born friends at a vacation resort, and Stella only realises this when she hears their chatter on the sleeper train on the way home.
Did you have a blowout? No, but just as I was leaving, I met Ethel. Oh, I can't get my breath. But I want to tell you what Ethel told me. Do you remember that funny-looking woman parading around the grounds this afternoon? No, I didn't see her, but Joe was...
You didn't see her. She can't be described. You wouldn't believe it.
I'll tell you, she was quite a number. Dresses up to here, and paint an inch thick, and bells on her shoes that tinkled all the time.
Not bells.
And bracelets up to here that clanked. You never saw such a sight. Anyway, do you know who she was?
Who?
Laura Dallas's mother.
Laurel Dallas? Why, I can't believe it.
You mean that pretty little girl Dick Grosvenor's been rushing? Yes. Didn't you know her?
But are you sure? She seems so lovely and sweet.
I know it. Isn't it weird? Perhaps such a common-looking creature for a mother.
Poor thing.
Poor nothing. She's wearing Dick Grosvenor's fraternity pin.
She won't be wearing it long, I'll bet.
Not when Mrs. Grosvenor hears about it.
Your bags are ready, ladies.
All right. I want to tell you about
Wouldn't
it.
you ever made it so interesting? It was so fun.
Tragically, Stella sees that Laurel is simply better off without her, and in a key scene pretends to be boorish and unpleasant to Laurel, and even fabricates a supposed relationship with the now catatonically alcoholic Ed. And also Laurel will want to go and live with her father and his new wife, but Laurel is never guilty of snobbery towards her parent. In a way, Stella is a divided personality. One half of her, the decent self-sacrificing half, can see how ugly and disagreeable is the other half, the low-born, brash self. And it is this higher self which ruthlessly takes steps against the lower self. Finally, poor Stella has to look through the window as her daughter gets married to a well-off young fellow and seems set fair to have the happy, socially balanced and prosperous marriage that Stella didn't. This is her female gaze looking through the window, seeing the self that she failed to create the first time. And that's it. Please give this vlog a like and a share on your socials. Please subscribe to The Guardian. And please subscribe also to this channel and leave a comment about what you're enjoying at the cinema right now. And please, please, oh please buy my book, The Body in the Mobile Library and Other Stories. Details given below. See you next time.